Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live stream in the lead up to Dubai Restaurant Week 2025, which is taking place here in November in Dubai. I'm Arina, the managing partner of Zest Communications, a UAE-based PR agency specializing in F&B and hospitality. These sessions are a chance to hear from the people who are not just leading, but reshaping the industry from the inside out. And today I'm joined by Manisha Advani, the director of Soul Santé Café under my Govindas group. She is someone who brings a blend of culinary creativity, business acumen, and well-centered leadership. She is also a pastry chef, certified coach, and head of creative. She is someone who is deeply involved in the operational side of running a conscious growing brand. Today, our conversation is focused on a topic that is critical for every restaurant operator, the cost. OPEX, food costs, supply chain, and pricing strategy. We will be diving into how these numbers have evolved through the years and what it really takes to keep a business alive that is both purpose-driven and financially healthy. Manisha, welcome. It's great to have you with us.
Hi, Arina. Thank you so much for having me. Hope everyone's doing great today.
Great. Let's just dive straight into that. How about you tell us a little bit about your story and what's made you become who you are today?
Thank you. I'd love to do that. So I'm a Dubai kid, and I know that's like a new thing now, all second generation people. They've been saying this a lot that they're Dubai kids. So I grew up here, and then I had the privilege to enhance my education abroad. So I went to university, I went to Penn State, and then I also went to culinary school where I studied the culinary arts for pastry. And that's where I really dug deep into my knowledge of food because I personally do love food a lot and really love to try new things. But as time evolved, we realized that everything that's available to us out there, we really want to be able to eat the best ingredients and the best food at all times and not just live to eat, but eat to live. And so when you're putting the sustenance in your body, it's really important. And then, of course, we have a family business of F&B restaurants and a couple of projects that we work on, such as My Govindas. We've been here since 2001. Currently, we have 5 outlets in the UAE. We also started one of UAE's first 100% natural ice cream, which means we don't use any preservatives, any stabilizers, nothing added, just natural ingredients available to us, such as milk or alternatives called True Fruit Natural Ice Cream. And we also have another sustainable brand called Soul Santé Café. That's my separate baby under the group, where we try to provide calorie counted plant-based dishes such as crowd pleasers like maybe a Snickers or some dessert, but slightly healthier for you. So that has been our ethos for all our brands, where we try our best to give you something like, people say farm to table. So we try to give our customers something like that, where they are confident that what they're eating doesn't have anything additional added to it, and they can trust us. And therefore, that's what makes us a sustainable brand, because we really try our best. Of course, when I say try, nowadays, it's very difficult to be 100% sustainable or 100% zero carbon footprint, but you got to try our best. So that's a little bit about me and our business in the UAE.
I think clean eating is such a buzzword these days, and many people really genuinely interested in that. And I also think there is a lot of misconception around it. So what does it actually mean? What does clean eating mean for you as a concept, as way of living?
Yeah. So I also, on the side, I'm a health coach. So sometimes people feel like that would come into the way of eating clean, but clean eating doesn't have to be something super strict like everyone says, oh my God, I'm on a diet and I can't eat this and I can't eat that. Clean eating just means you're fully aware of what you're eating, what's going in there, and there's nothing, no nasties. When they say no nasties, means anything that's extremely processed, anything that if you turn the back of a box, and I'm sure, Arina, you know this, you're in PR nowadays, when you go to a supermarket, you turn the box and then you see 1 million ingredients.
Yeah.
I'm sure that can't be clean, you know? So for us, clean eating means you can really rely on the ingredients that we're putting in there. Clean eating could mean a salad, but clean eating could also mean a dessert as long as you're in control of what goes inside. I- If you have kids, of course, you don't want refined sugar because you don't know where it's coming from. Whereas if you choose natural sugar, like naturally derived sources, like maybe cane sugar, or like people use dates nowadays a lot, considering we're in the UAE and the Middle East has given us this ingredient that the West didn't know before, and we've been using it for so long. Dates is such a nice, clean product, and we've been using it for so long, and we didn't even realize how amazing it is for us and the benefits dates have. So clean eating doesn't mean it has to be boring and you're eating a salad. Cleaning just means you're aware, you know how it's cooked, and you can trust where it's coming from. And you don't want to be eating like something lathered in extreme fat where you don't know, you are not aware. So it's just more about knowledge. And I feel like everyone says that the knowledge you have is really powerful because the knowledge is key. So as long as you're aware, then yeah, you can eat clean all the time, and it doesn't have to be boring, and like you don't have to starve yourself. So I hope I was a little bit
Yeah, yeah,
clear. I just wanted
definitely.
to make sure I was appeasing to all palates, not just health conscious people, but people who just want to live a normal life day to day.
Since our topic today is about cost and profitability and various expenses, those ingredients usually come at a specific cost, like gluten-free, dairy-free. How do you balance premium ingredients with profitability in your business? What would be your take on that?
Nice question. So of course, these are all amazing buzzwords, and it really does make your product a little more trendy. So, when you say gluten free, and our other brand, Soul Santé Cafe, we have a lot of gluten free options. But it's so funny that even in like our other brand, My Govindas, um, we're Indian vegetarian brand, a lot of food that you're eating normally, day to day basis, is gluten free. For example, rice is naturally gluten free. So, as a restaurant, in terms of cost parameters, you really have to be smart about it because it's very easy to go into the market or speak to your supplier and get gluten free flour, which the supplier will say, Of course, I'm going to charge you a premium. It's such a great word. I'm going to charge you a premium on it. Uh, but if you use your knowledge, and of course a lot of people now, all the chefs that we're hiring in all these five-star hotels that you're working with, and brands where the chefs have become really more creative, they come with a knowledge and a background from their education where they're super aware of what gluten-free is, what sugar-free is, what is no added sugar. So that's one point. You just have to be smart about it. Number two, how you can avoid certain high costs in these niche ingredients. Maybe you didn't mention it, but even organic, when we say, I want something organic, it is more expensive. As a lot of the things that help over here is a little bit of planning. I wanted to talk about if you're buying, if you're trying to mitigate all extra additional costs, like for logistics, my opinion would be to try and make a good partnership with a local supplier versus trying to have these ingredients come in from abroad, because then you're incurring logistic cost, considering what happened before, where with the Suez Canal, and that really impacted logistics. Even in COVID, how logistics costs went through the roof. Of course, now everyone's aware. So one really good benefit is trying to partner with local suppliers more than before. And number two is all big brands do this. Like maybe, for example, McDonald's, eh, they centralize a lot of their procurement. So they have a central kitchen. And what they do is try to source there directly and try to make sure that that one person and the one entity is buying these products so that all the other entities, for example, in the Middle East, can benefit from these economies of scale. So these two things really benefit, unless there is something else. One second. Yeah, and of course, this I said already, and also inventory management. So, of course, like that is where you do the bulk supply or the bulk purchase, and where you really manage your inventory, like LIFO, FIFO, whatever works for you and your restaurant. This is where you can really mitigate those additional costs that you might incur with these specialty products. Yeah, I think I covered everything.
Yeah, and since you're a Dubai kid, I think and you also mentioned it's a family restaurant.
Yeah.
You've seen it all. You've seen the Dubai 20 years ago. You see Dubai now. So how did it evolve in terms of cost for restaurants, both OPEX and operational expenses?
Yeah. So our OPEX, which is our operational expenses such as rentals and manpower, um, and other costs that I want to go over. And it's obviously evolved because in the beginning, I took these notes because this is so important. And I also, over time, have learned this while being in the business because what it was before COVID and what it is now, and then with the new trend of Gen Z influencers, this all has really impacted us. So before it was basic overheads like rent, utilities, wages. But now, in Dubai specifically, and we can see it live because before people used to say Dubai is 10 years behind. And maybe that would be for like some new diet, maybe. Like maybe kale was introduced in California before, and then we learned about kale 3, 4 years back. Maybe for specific ingredients, but now with the power of internet and all these tools that were provided, all these costs have fallen upon us because now the customer is more aware. Your customer is more knowledgeable. So before it wasn't like that, of course. And Dubai was like nothing. Any restaurant we used to open would be a success because whatever we were offering was new. And when we opened in 2001, we were one of the first vegetarian like restaurants that provides Ayurvedic food. There was no one in Dubai doing that. But now everyone has a section. I mean, I'm sure you know this because you're in PR. Everyone has a section in their menu, healthy, gluten-free, vegan. So everyone is learning and they're on trend. So you're really honestly just the competition is not just for competition, but it's to make you better. So now other costs that includes more your marketing percentage, your marketing cost before would be maybe I think like 10% before. Now it's really increased. It's become 15%, which is still a large chunk because imagine 30% is food cost. What are you left with? And then so now it's become a bigger chunk from 10, it's become 15, or some people spend a lot more on marketing. Maybe their rent is really minimal, like 5% of their
Yeah.
food costs. I mean, of the cost that they're giving their consumer the product at. But now the marketing cost has really increased. Another thing that people are really working on right now in OPEX and putting their money into is technology. So the technological investments, such as one brand is like Urban Piper. What that does is to compile, like now, how many aggregators do you know of? I think you know of, I think. You must be ordering food online.
Oh
You
yes,
you don't
plenty,
use one app. Do you use
plenty.
only one app? Yeah, plenty. So to mitigate all of these, some people use some technology to compile them. Then before the POS was just a cashier, you just put one item in and then you receive. But now you need data. So to get that data, you need to invest in a better POS system. Then we have I said delivery. So now the aggregators, what they do to restaurants is they take a percentage.
Yeah.
So before they would take nothing because they wanted to enter the market. So they would take maybe like 5, 10%. Now aggregators are taking up to 40%, which I don't think is fair if any of them are listening here.
It's a
But
lot.
it's fine. It's a business. So I have to account for this cost, right? And so this is another cost that I'm investing in my operational expense. Like every month, how much am I giving to my aggregator from my sales? Another one is so delivery platforms. Another one is inventory management, which we spoke about earlier, where some people have a central kitchen, like maybe McDonald's or now Chipotle. And we spoke about marketing. And now you have to keep the competitive edge alive because out of sight is out of mind. Just because someone's been ordering from you for 10 years, that doesn't mean that tomorrow they might still continue. So brand loyalty is there, but also innovation is super important in your brand. And then enhanced hygiene and safety protocol. So before, they used to come for audits, the municipality. But now, if you're working with a big customer or corporate client, or you're supplying to a supermarket, anything like this, because we have FMCG products like crackers or
Hmm.
snacks, which we supply to supermarkets or online supermarkets. And even they have a strict audit policy. So that is something you have to invest on monthly as well. Every time I speak, I feel like I'm just increasing my cost just by saying all of these. And then, of course, other utilities that you might not see before, like now you want to be like in your packaging costs. Before, we would just use anything, plastic or anything. But now, even your packaging is trendy, because the customer eats with their eyes. So I'm sure if you see a nice cookie box, you're like, and then a boring cookie box,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it tastes like, because you're going to buy the one that looks nice. That's another expense that we did not see before. Yeah, I think those are a lot of costs.
I think especially Generation Z, right? Gen Z, they're very much package oriented. It's package is almost more important than the actual products.
Yeah. And they say customer eats with their eyes.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure that's the case. Like you send a PR box. If the PR box
100%.
looks
Yeah,
beautiful, more people are more likely to, Instagram it.
yeah,
Whereas,
exactly. The end goal is to have it online, is to have people talk about it in
yeah,
Instagram. Exactly, exactly. So when the costs start to rise, whether it's OPEX or your supplier cost, what's your first move as a restaurant owner? How do
first,
you handle
how do I
those moments
mitigate?
when you have to pay for something extra? Do you
Yeah.
cut on something else? Do you adjust your pricing for the food items on your menu? Do you re-engineer your menu?
Yeah.
As I would imagine, prices rise all the time, like with inflation and
Yeah. Yeah, inflation. I remember I used to get my coffee from Starbucks. And I don't drink Starbucks anymore, not just because I like specialty coffee and I have my own coffee now. So I prefer to have that. But before, the Starbucks cup used to be, I think, 10 dirhams.
oh
It's
wow,
17 dirhams now.
yes, yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, that's one example of cost.
Yeah. And Starbucks invested in the plant-based straw. Okay. So that's something what we were talking about, where their straw cost increased. So some of it's impacted onto the customer, but I feel like, if you are chain restaurants, if you have any more than two restaurants, maybe you have three, or maybe you have 50. Okay. That's where you can really utilize all of these tactics and benefit from economies of scale. For example, you said about products, menu items. Do you change your menu items? Some people, what they do is, to cut these costs, they use certain ingredients that might be applicable for more than one dish. So if I'm going to a sushi restaurant and they're importing caviar just for one sushi,
Right. So you
we don't
spread it
know
across separate. Yeah, that makes
we don't
sense.
know how many times the customer is going to order that sushi. But if I put it in the menu of three different sushis, then the chances and the percentage and the probability of someone ordering it more than once is higher. Another way you would say is, I have like a really amazing base of like vegetable stock. Right now we are making soup. Instead of instead of me having four different soups that might require different types of vegetable stock, I make one vegetable stock and then I can flavor it for my different soups. In fact, as a restaurant in my Govindas, what helps when I flavor the stocks differently is because I'm using fresh stock every time, so my customer is happy. And two, I have a dearth of flavors that I can give to my customers. So in fact, I'm actually benefiting both ways. I'm giving a fresh product, but I'm saving money because I'm only making one stock. I'm just flavoring it differently. So whenever the stock runs out, I can make it fresh on the day instead of other people what they do, and this is how rentals increases. They make a lot of batch cooking. I'm sure you know about this. People make
Mhm.
stuff from before, like when you're on a meal plan or you sometimes meal prep and then you make stuff before because maybe you don't have time because we're going to work, even me, for example. But that takes up space. And in a restaurant with big operations and large customer profile, um, space is money, and that is one of your opex, rentals. And
Mhm.
as you can see right now, the trend in the last 2 years, the rentals are rising continuously. People said they'll drop in the summer. I'm also waiting. But that's another thing you can do is to really be innovative, and that's what we said about innovation. Another thing is we said about supplier relationship, we said about inventory management, and also central kitchens. So even we spoke about McDonald's, how they have a central kitchen, and the supplier relationship improves if they try to source locally. Whereas someone like Chipotle, what they do is um, they have proprietary recipes. So whatever is a special recipe, they'll like spice
Mhm.
mix, they'll send it from America
Yeah.
versus what they will do in each place that they're opening is try to enhance local supplier relationship. For example, rice. I'm sure rice will not make a difference if you get it from America or Vietnam or China.
Mhm.
So that's where they can really, adjust for these costs. And because they're a chain restaurant, they can benefit from bringing all of this to one central kitchen and then sending this out to their small satellite kitchens across the city.
That
Um,
makes
this
sense.
is how, yeah, this is how you can counteract some of the rising costs. Of course, like I said, and you mentioned this in our MBA, we learned we should never cut corners or costs or remove other benefits that we're providing our customers. For example, maybe I had 4 servers in my restaurant before. Just because my labor costs have increased, that doesn't mean I should have 3 servers now, because that's going to impact my service and my customer experience. And my customer is paying me for this experience where we say it's like you're eating outside food, but you're in my Govindas, you've come home because you feel like you're welcome home because we have that kind of service. Whereas if we have less servers, then you wouldn't feel the same way. So of course, a little bit of the cost the customer bears, maybe a little small percent, like 5%, hopefully not more. And the rest you really have to plan and do some resource planning for such events in life, like for example, COVID.
Definitely. And I think my last question for today would be labor cost. You slightly touch upon that already, but what would be your advice on balancing labor costs and maintaining a service of quality, um, and balance between customer service and profitability?
Okay. Very I think I was reading a book and I heard a talk on this. And it's a very, when we go to management school, management means managing men. And that's the craziest part about, actually, you have your own company. I'm sure that's why you're laughing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's a very tricky slope. And I feel like if a CEO or a managing director can really manage their employees well, they've achieved like they've reached space because it's very difficult. That being said, they really make an or break a company, and because they are the face of your brand, not you. You and I are trying to promote the brand, and we're here talking to each other. Whereas in the back end, your team and my team are working. And here, two things are really important because wages rise and wages drop. Fine, that will always happen. Training and scheduling. Training. So they said you can hire two kinds of people. Either you hire a really smart guy who thinks he knows it all, but you can't train him because he already knows everything, and you can't trust him. because he's so skilled, um, and he's so beyond his pay grade that at any point he may feel like you are not good enough for him. Whereas him and the brand should be synonymous to each other. So you can hire this person who might not listen to you, but is really smart, and maybe he can take your company to crazy heights the first year. Okay. Whereas another person you can hire is someone who might not be as talented as him. He might cost you a little less. But that's where all companies right now invest in training. Brands like Unilever, Emirates NBD, um, HSBC, they are investing money and investing into management programs for such people, people that you can really trust. They might not have the knowledge that you're looking for, but you might as well spend this money on training, because that's when they'll really take home that skill,
Yeah.
really grow to appreciate the company, and really become one with the company, because I think
As
that's
long as they have a right attitude, right? And you can train them and they can
the attitude
embrace
is
the
the most
culture. Yeah.
important. If they think this company is their company, I always used to say this to my team, whichever, whether it's small or big, I said, this is your restaurant, not mine, because you are here more than me. So it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. What matters is, do you really care? And that's where you can hire the second profile of people where they might not be as skilled, but you really trust them. Like you can really count on them, go to sleep without any worries. So that's where nowadays we're investing into training a lot of brands. I called a spa the other day. They said we don't have time at 5 o'clock because our team is going for training. I said, okay, that makes sense. That's nice. I'll get better service in the future.
Yeah.
And the second one is scheduling. So right now we see there's a lot of manpower, but maybe some manpower have personal needs and wants. Before it was not there. I'm sure like it was like, okay, people are working 9 to 5 or they're in a restaurant and it's fine. But now people have other requirements and distractions, like we said, with technology.
Gen Z is a completely different ball game, right? You can't
Yeah.
just say like, "Oh, you have to stay for another 2 hours." No, they won't.
I feel like you're speaking personal experience. But yeah, they want work-life
Yeah.
balance.
No,
They
yeah,
don't
exactly,
care.
exactly. It's
I said,
number
oh,
one.
you're gonna make more money. They don't care.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's
They don't care.
different generation.
I came from the generation where I'm like, okay, I really want to make more money. I want to expand my restaurants. I want to, be on Forbes. And whereas now the Gen Z is like, forget about that. I want to be happy and have a work-life balance. And it's okay if
Exactly.
it takes me longer. So that's where scheduling takes a really important role, where we need to have flexible scheduling and roles need to be clearly defined. That means that not just one person can do one skill. There should be two persons having two skill sets. And a replaceability should be there. Means if one guy is sick, you can't stop your business just for this one person. You need to have his and you need to have his counterpart who's there with him hand in hand. Actually, it's like a team. Everyone's a team. Before it would be manager, 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 but now it's manager, team, and then everyone is a team with the manager. That's really evolved nowadays, and I feel like that's what really helps when you're um, not micromanaging, but truly believing that everyone is a team and there are a few people that might know something better than you, and there are a few people who might be interchangeable with their roles. And that's where scheduling is really important, because you want to give them that work-life balance and you want to increase utility rate. Maybe they're working for 1 hour, but that 1 hour utility rate, if it's high, then that's where your customer satisfaction really increases, because someone walks into your outlet, someone picks up the phone, and they realize this person is on the ball versus sleeping or not interested. So scheduling and training, I think that. is
I cannot agree more. Thank you so much, Manisha. I think some of your team management advices I will take on board even in my own agency, although it's not F&B, but that was extremely insightful. And thank you so much again. And for the rest of our viewers, we're looking forward to welcome you all at the Dubai Restaurant Week in November. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Arina.
you. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Welcome to Restaurant Week in Dubai, where opportunities, luxury, and cutting-edge knowledge come together. From November 11th to 13th, 2025, we will bring together restaurant owners and top managers from around the world for an international conference. It's 3 days of intensive learning from the leaders of the restaurant industry, trends that will help you attract more guests, tools to boost your profits, solutions to strengthen your team, the latest industry technologies. This event is not just about knowledge. It's a unique opportunity to network with colleagues from around the globe. Restaurant Week in Dubai is an event that inspires, educates, and opens new horizons. Don't miss the chance to combine business with pleasure. In the evening, you'll enjoy a luxurious yacht party, your chance to unwind, get inspired, and connect with industry professionals. Seats are limited. Book your ticket today.